All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Bison, aka Bison Trades over on Twitter, and welcome back to another episode of RareFUD Radio. Today, we're going to be catching up on the market. We're going to be talking a little bit about the one-on-one space. I kind of wanted to take the time to talk about what's going on in the one-on-one space, how it's kind of similar to what's going on in the generative space. Talk about Scum Soul making his generative or his one-on-one debuts almost. I don't want to say debuts. He's been in the one-on-one space before. He was with D Gods. Now coming out with a few different sections of work. I want to call it sections. So we'll get into that today. We'll talk a little bit about Claynosaurs and Lily. Lily is coming out with planting. We're going to talk about planting a little bit today. I'm not sure what that is. I'm sure it's some sort of staking. They are going to have one-on-ones today where a snapshot will be taking on Friday. We'll be talking about that. And Claynosaurs. Claynosaurs is having a snapshot as well. It does seem like an airdrop is on the way. They said midweek. It's hump day. So we're going to see what happens here. But going over everything with me is my wonderful co-host, Dorian. Dorian, how you doing today, man?
Yo, what's going on, dog? Every day's a holiday and happy to be here. Back-to-back days on this one.
That's right. I know it is. It's not our normal scheduled time. If you guys are new to the show, we do stream every Tuesday, Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do have a wedding to go to this weekend, though. And since Joe is on the road, he's been traveling all December, essentially, for family holidays. We're not sure whenever he comes and goes and all that good stuff. So Dorian didn't want to be by himself, and I'm right there with him. I've been in that single solo.
Yeah, dog. Streaming solo is brutal.
Yeah, it's not easy. So, nonetheless, we're having a special stream today. I am feeling a little bit better. I'm actually feeling a little bit more like myself. I have a little more energy. That's good. Still a little stuffy. That's okay. So I apologize if I trip up on my words or anything like that, but the cough is pretty much gone. I appreciate you guys sticking with me over yesterday because holy cow, that was brutal, dude. Oh my goodness. I was dying. Yesterday.
Yeah. Doing the edits on that was it was fun.
Well, I appreciate you doing it for us, Dor, as always. And let's get into some market stats today. We are still sitting at about 200K Solana volume. That's good. We love to see it. Again, nothing's really changed. Market's still churning along. And again, we've been saying this for a while. This is probably one of the best times to just stack your Solana, sharpen your blades. The risk in terms of USD on most of these collections is so little that this is the time to be sharpening your blades and learning a lot more about the space when there's not a whole lot of participants in here. You're not getting absolutely hosed by all these mints that are going on, and the mints that are happening are usually quality stuff. So this is the time to be sharpening your blades, and we're seeing it through and through. 200K Solana volume, you'll love to see it. Exchange art having about a 2.25K volume day. They had that yesterday as well. I do want to point that out because that's impressive. If you amortize that over a 7-day schedule, you're looking at what, close to 15K, over 15K SOL volume just on exchange art. So when we are back, when we started the show, about 10K Solana volume between form function and exchange art was usually our good baseline for one-on-one space. Things have been cooking over there. And it's one of the things I wanted to bring to attention today. I love the one-on-one space. I'm still active in it, maybe not as much as I was, but I always keep my eyes on it. And I want to get your thoughts on the market. Dorian, what's going on over here?
Yeah, man, it's great to see volume, especially that much volume on exchange art. That's pretty impressive, man. I think people are starting to really catch on to the value of one-on-one space. Speaking of that, I need to ask you about that open edition because I know that comes out today, so don't let me forget it. But yeah, man, just seeing, once again, it feels like there's life in the market. Now that we've bottomed out again, people are like, okay, I don't feel like my bags are going to decrease by another 50% anytime soon. So I'm going to be a little bit more active. But yeah, man, it's nice.
Yeah. It absolutely is. And the open edition that Dorian is referencing actually comes out in about 2 hours, a little under 2 hours. It is by Camille, who's a good friend of the show. I absolutely love Camille's work, and he is fantastic at what he does. And again, one of the big things I look for in the one-on-one space is good cadence of work, thematic collections, and stuff that I can pick out from a million different pieces. And Camille absolutely hones in on all of that. Nice little music behind it.
Yeah,
The art style is just unparalleled. I don't see anything like
definitely
it in
unique
the
dog.
Solana space, and he just crushes it. So
Hmm.
Camille does have an open edition coming at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is one soul per, so what, $14 right now?
Yeah.
That is about as cheap of an entry you can get into the 101 space, at least into editions, right? I mean, I know
Hmm.
that's not 101 technically, different subsection of 101, but it's incredible work. And I love the Hometown series, and this is the first edition that Camille is doing. I'm about it. One
Yep.
soul is such a cheap entry. I'm going to be stacking up on at least 3
Yeah.
personally. And yeah, we're just gonna see where it goes from there. But I love the sentiment that Camille attaches to everything. If you guys look at his Twitter, Camille actually worked with his dad on the guitar for the background music of this piece, and all of his stuff comes from experience and memories and stuff like that. And that, just a wonderful person. I've DM'd Camille a bunch of times, and uh, he's fantastic. He's everything I look for in an underrated, underappreciated artist. And I will tell you right now, some of the biggest brain collectors in the space love that Hometown series. So,
Mhm.
you
It's
know,
solid,
this
man.
edition is just such a very easy way to get into that ecosystem, to get into the thematics of it. So make sure you're checking that out. Another thing, while I have your guys' attention, if you have been on the restream on Twitter and stuff like that, I found out yesterday there's a little chat section in there. So if you have been chatting with us and I have not been answering you, I always say go to YouTube if you want to interact with us live on the stream. Um, I'm sorry, I'm just figuring that out. So now I'm checking out all of this. I see Camille is actually giving some praises in the chat. Dude, we appreciate your
Hey,
work. Your work is
yeah,
so
love it,
fantastic.
love it.
But now I do have this up and ready. So if you do chat in there, I will make sure that I try to get to your messages over there as well. But yeah, let's get into some work here, Dorian.
Yeah,
Since
man.
we're talking about 101, I do want to talk about Scum. So if you guys don't know who Scum is, he's one of the artists that
Hmm.
left during the Duppies to Utes, and then I'm sure he just got so tired of his work being scrapped all the time. Um,
Hmm.
a lot of the people that I have talked to, it's just an artist mentality. Like,
Hmm.
imagine your work just gets shut down all the time, or you said
Constantly.
it's not good enough. And like artists, most artists actually have a pretty strong mindset when it comes to it. But when you get into the art world, you usually work for yourself, so it's really hard to collaborate with a lot of people. And so when you're told your artwork isn't good enough, and you're just sitting
Hmm.
there like, you could take it one time, maybe two times, but that
Yeah,
third time is like brutal,
brutal.
man. So he broke off. He wanted to venture more into the one-on-one space, start developing his own work. And so he's done that. And so I wanted to highlight um, there's a couple different things. So one, he's doing a collaboration. And if you see on the thumbnail, if you see on the YouTube thumbnail, he actually did a collaboration with Basket for one of the fellas that just dropped
Yeah.
their record sale on auction. So 165 sold. Dude is incredibly talented. And
Hmm.
one of the things that I love about Scum, one of the reasons I wanted to bring him back up, is that he really seems to be honing in on his Chicano, Mexican heritage, and really tapping into that art style. I love when artists do this, right? This is one of the things that I think is like a key element. Like if you see John Lay pieces, you know exactly where
Hmm.
he's coming from, right? This is like he loves comics. He comes from the comic book era. He wanted to always be a comic artist, and you can see that influence on his style. Laura L, you can tell her pieces from a mile away. She loves
Hmm.
illustration. She loves those like calligraphy lines almost, and you can see that in all her work. And I think Scum is finally settling into his self as an artist. And look, he's already been cooking as far as his pieces go. He's been collaborating with like Scuba Steve
Hmm.
and High Blinks. If you guys aren't in tune with the 101 space right now, those are two big names. Nippies was
Yep.
Scuba Steve's kind of rise to fame, I want to say. He's done a bunch of work besides that, but Nippies came off the back of Duppies because they kept postponing art reveal, and he was like, look, I'm just gonna make my own stuff over here. And it was just like really accentuated nipples. It was like more of a comedy series that turned out to be fantastic. And I love Scuba's art style. It's very humorous and everything like that. But yeah, Scum is starting to come out with a bunch of stuff. We saw the fella collaboration just absolutely cook. Máquina Muertes, right? So this is coming out Wednesday, December 7th. That is today. And he's going to be doing it's supposed to come out at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I do want to bring everybody's attention to this. If you can get in on his Genesis piece for this, I promise you this is going to be a collector's haven right here. Scum is just so talented. He's one of the top artists in Solana. And I would encourage you to do so. Dorian, I know we've been just like absolutely all eyes on generative collections. And so this is one of the things that like reminded me, hey, one-on-one art is still there. I have some thoughts on it, but I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about, have you been doing anything in one-on-one art? Because it's been very sparse for me.
So it's funny because I'm in the fellas chat. Honestly, I feel like I'm outclassed in there because I probably am. Like I'm in there with Scum, freaking Admiral, like Nom, like pretty much any heavy hitter in the space. It's like is there, and I'm just like there, like oh man. It's like how did I stumble in on this one? So Scum's in there too. So I knew about like these collabs and everything like for a good bit now, and I don't know why I didn't leak you the alpha dog. My bad. But yeah, I've been in there for a good bit now and known about this and knew how it was coming. But yeah, man, it's great, man. Like Fellas is a pretty legit community that's starting to cook over there, dude. Highblink's recently joined, but yeah, dude, I'm definitely interested in Scum's work, and I do feel bad for him about the things that he might have experienced on DGods, and not saying that DGods treated him mean, but also saying that scrapping your work constantly, I'm sure that beat you down after a certain point.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, just a little bit more word on Scum, and then some thoughts on the one-on-one space. So, Scum is coming out with 3 different series, essentially. We already talked about Máquina Muertes, which is going to be really highlighting his Mexican and Chicano heritage. GM, I don't know what this series is going to be about. I haven't read too much about it, but all it says underneath it is a wake the fuck up series. So that's going to be interesting to see. And then we see Slimes. This is the one I'm actually most interested in. So this is Scum finally makes some PFPs. That's all it says under it. This is going to be a thematic PFP collection, I guarantee you. And if you have been listening to the channel for a long time, if you've been listening to me on Twitter, thematic collections are one of the things I am most bullish on when it comes to one-on-one art. It's kind of a different approach to what we've seen in the generative brand building space, where it's more of like a, I want to say bottom up approach, where it's like, hey, we're just going to make 10K, different generative pieces. We might make some legendaries like we've seen with Clanosaurs or Ancients in their case. And then, we're definitely going to build around the Ancients, but maybe we'll pick out a few of these different generative pieces, right? on the collection. And so maybe your piece gets selected, who knows, but they're sitting at 27 sold right now. Now there's a lot of different things you can do with that. There is some scale that you can do. Like even if you don't get selected for whatever cartoon they come out with, or if they don't make a plushie out of your NFT, that's okay. You still get airdrops. I'm sure you'll still get to participate in whatever game they're creating. I know they've been teasing classes and stuff like that, but with these thematic collections, with these one-on-one collections, I actually think there's a lot more lore building that you can do with, like, let's say 25 PFPs, right? So 25, think of it like you guys ever play Tekken? Like the game Tekken? Yeah, bro. Tekken was awesome. Tekken was what I grew up on. And so you kind of got like, it was just little bits of lore, but like you found out Kazuya came from what's his name? Starts with an H, dude. His dad, he did like the thunder and stuff like that. But you started to see kind of lore, but it was through the game, and it was built off of like 20 characters, right? It wasn't built off 10K characters, it was built off 20. And so that's, if you're going to take the brand ability play, make sure you're taking the reciprocal side of it too. The one-on-one space is kind of a top-down approach. So if you're betting on Clanosaurs, great. I actually picked one up today. We'll get into them in a little bit as well, but I do think there's some ways that it can be fruitful for all the holders. And then in the one-on-one space, I actually think these are incredibly undervalued. And some of these people are incredible at the business side of things, at lore building, at making way more detailed art. Like, it just makes sense. So, I like to balance my portfolio accordingly. Make sure you're looking into these PFPs. And the final thing I'll say on the one-on-one space is we're seeing kind of a consolidation that we're seeing in generative collections, right? There was a lot of smaller artists that were really popping off, especially like when we were really bored in June to August or so,
August, yep.
where a lot of people were just buying random one-on-one art because they enjoyed it. We're seeing a lot more consolidation. I have not seen a ton of smaller artists, and that if you are trying to get into the art world, don't be afraid to do so. Now is still the time, especially when a lot of other people just see $14 soul and they're like, well, my artwork only sells for like 2 soul. I'm out. This is the time that you pay your dues now. You make massive returns in the future. But we're seeing a lot of people just focus on the big artists, right? So the Scums, the High Blinks, the Laura L, the Adam Apes, dude.
Fellas.
Fellas by Basket. I'm like so these artists that have already established themselves, it's like the liquidity is just closing in on these artists. And so some of the fringe players, this is make or break for them to make it into that upper echelon of people. And then some people are just giving up, right? So my encouragement to you as an artist, don't give up. This is a time to gain market share. And then if you are looking to collect, this is the time to be finding those fringe players, the ones that, maybe we're stuck in that 5 to 15 soul range, and you're like, I think they can make that jump. This is the time to be taking bets on them. So that's my alpha for one-on-one. I'm done talking. Dorian, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, man, no, I agree with you. As always on point, I copy trade you on one-of-ones. I wouldn't be successful in one-on-ones without copy trading you. So I'm just going to go along with that for the foreseeable future. But I do agree that we're starting to see a consolidation amongst the top tier artists within the space. But I guess that also kind of parallels what's going on in the 10K side too, or larger collection side. We're starting to see a lot of consolidation within these blue chips also. I just think people not sure how long we're going to be in this bear market. People are unsure about like what the price of Solana is going to do. And one of the best hedges against that is just getting into these projects and backing these artists that have a proven history, that is going to be around and continue to build throughout all of this time cycle. And then I'm sure we'll discuss like blue chips and like planosaurs and everything later on. But it's like, once again, I haven't purchased anything recently just because, as Bison said, it's like, I'm just trying to consolidate my liquidity in some of these high valued items. Like, we're at price points right now that are so low that any upward price movement in the dollar value of Solana is going to be a net positive. I don't care too much about the SOL value right now because the dollar value is so low. So even if we do see SOL pullbacks across some of the top tier collections, if Solana hits a 3 to 4x in the next 7 to 8 months, being optimistic, or even if it hits a 2 to 3x on the safe side of things, it's like, I'm still up drastically, even if we go down by 50% in half of these SOL or some of the floors of these top collections.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those are my thoughts exactly. And I think, we've always said, especially in the bull market, 99% of these NFTs aren't going to make it. And we're starting to see that consolidation effect. Like, you have to understand, even in a bull market, we're seeing a lot of these fall by the wayside, but 99% of NFTs are not going to make it. It's like, we're going to see opportunities to stack your soul and everything like that. It's not going to be the next Bored Ape Yacht Club or anything like that. No, if you start hearing stuff like that, that's usually a good time to like, hey, maybe I should take profit now. If they don't have a unique, distinct value proposition, not going to make it. I'll tell you that right now. And that's where I made my money, is just like living off hype cycles. The same thing goes for one-on-one art, right? And the thing about one-on-one art is it's not so clear right up front. And I'll give you guys a little story, a little anecdote of my experience with an artist that I think did everything wrong, even though they had such a great art style. It was Reza Afshar, who's a very talented illustrator, but went down the additions path. And the additions path is a very slippery slope. I think they're on the cusp of establishing themselves in a very prominent way. If they had done a thematic collection, if they had started doing series, rather than editions. They probably would have rose to prominence because such a great illustration style. And then went down the editions path. They were doing like 100 editions at 3 Soul pop, and it's just like you saw there was no point in these except for the art, which was great, but at the same time, I'd rather just buy a print to go on this wall, right? Like I'd rather just buy that for $20. I have a physical print, and I'm not just one of 1,000 collectors who could literally right click, save, and post it on a poster. Like there was no community being built around these editions, and I think that's like a really strong use case for edition. So moral of the story is, watch out for one-on-one art, watch out for their trends. As soon as I started seeing that, I was trying to sell my one-on-one piece by him. As much as I love it, I'm also about capital preservation. So
all day.
Yeah, easy. So let's talk a little bit about there is Toys R Us. So Vadris was saying, we got Toys R Us coming up. Is that today? I cannot remember. Is that
I got to
today?
double check. I'll check on Magic Eden right now. I think it's today or tomorrow.
Let me pull up a picture I saw of what it looks like. Come here. Dude, this guy tweets so much, but I saw this tweet from him. Please show it. There it is. Okay. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And I'm going to ask you real quick. Do you think it's worth spending 7 Sol on a Toys R Us mint?
Yeah. Why not?
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sol's down so bad. It's like, what, $70 or a little bit over $100 for Toys R Us? Like, it was one of those things, like, I'll hold on to it and see what happens. But that's one of the gambles I'm willing to take.
Now, do you think it's worth 7 Sol?
Oh, dude, I don't care about the image, dog. Contrary to a lot of people's beliefs, I'm not here for the art so much. I'm looking at who's backing it. It's like, if we're only looking at the art, V-Friends would have never performed well. So it's horrible. But yeah, I need to honestly look into more what Toys R Us has planned for it. Like, is it open to mint, or how many are they having available?
I would imagine it's a 10K collection, just knowing them.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. Vadris, if you're in chat, if you know the supply details, I haven't paid this any attention, and I'll tell you why.
Me either. I'm like,
Toys R Us is a bankrupt company.
True.
Well, if they didn't identify, oh my gosh, they had the opportunity of a lifetime. If they didn't identify the fact that they were $1 billion company and video games were taking off, and they did do you remember going to Toys R Us back when you were a kid?
Dog. Yes, I did.
Like, they were fantastic, but they literally gave the biggest sections in the store to some of the most outdated BS in the like. They did a whole aisle, like a whole third of the store was like board games. Meanwhile, you have a small sliver that was dedicated to video games, and
it was big glass.
And
then you had to look through this glass to pick out which one you want.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible. And at that time, EB Games and GameStop was still a thing.
Yeah.
And so my thought process is, if they could not identify the most glaring opportunity ever, and I know you had to have seen in your bank statements and market analysis and everything like that, like, hey, what's taking off? Not board games. Video games. All right, let's do that. And you had everything at your disposal. Could have rebranded it into like a separate, attached store or something like that. Like, I don't know what you call it, but you had the opportunity. You had the world by your hands, and you didn't adapt.
You did nothing.
So my question is, why do you think they're going to adapt to Web3? Like, what are they going to do? That
good point.
I did see they had a I gotta find it again. They had a trailer or something that was it was incredible. It was really good. But I have fallen for trailers before, and they have yielded nothing before. So it does not take much to do a 30-second trailer and just like pay somebody $5,000 and be like, yo, make a great trailer so I could sell 70,000 Sol worth of NFTs, and then have it fall by the wayside and be like, yeah, thanks for the money. We went bankrupt, and we don't owe you anything. So they just put that under their bankruptcy and toss you by the wayside. Fugazi, fairy dust.
Dude,
you're
a lot, like, of course, Bison, I completely agree with you, man. But it's like, I don't know. Claynosaurus minted, if there's enough like hype around, like I haven't been paying attention to this. Like, but if I did throw something at this, like 7 Sol isn't that much right now. So I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But I don't have whitelist. I haven't been paying attention to it. So I'm probably not going to touch it.
Yeah. Now my big thing with this is I would much rather, and I have bought Claynosaurs. One of the things I love about Web3 and NFTs is that we will see the new thought leaders and owners and everything like that. We will see the next round of francs and stuff come out of this bear market. And that will be through new brands. It will be through new ideas. It will be from people translating their talents over to Web3 like Claynosaurus did. And, you know, it was one of the big reasons I got into Claynosaurus is I started doing research and talking to people about cab animation. There we go. About background, like you know, is this some new guy who just saw an opportunity to take money and be like, yo, thanks for the money, and I'm gonna make a great IP and then I'll sell it, and thank you for funding that, but you get none of that money. I don't have to give any equity into you guys. No, he saw Web3 from the get-go. Like he was an OG mentor of DGods and SMBs, and like he's been around the space. And I think that's what made me bullish on it. So he understands what Web3 is, what community building is, how to reward holders. And I think that was like, that's bullish for me. He saw what works in here and he's like, I'm going to do that too. There should be an airdrop snapshot either today or tomorrow, I would imagine. And so Toys R Us hasn't. Toys R Us has not done this. You know what I mean? They probably saw this as like, shit, this is free money.
Hey, dog, yo, that's honestly, man, it's like some of these bigger brands are like, this is free money. But I think that's maybe one of the differentiations from Solana and ETH that when you see these big brands come in, like Nike with 10K TF, if I'm not mistaken, it's like you see a lot of like people rally behind that. And Adidas with Clone X, you see a lot of people rally behind that. While with Solana, I don't feel like there's the same there's a lot of less trustworthiness behind these established brands, especially outside of a bull cycle. Like maybe during a bull market, we see a lot of pumpage off of this. But right now, people are like, I don't know about this. So they're trying to go with people that they trust and know than those that they don't. So I would, I don't know much about Claynosaurus, but I was wrong about its holding its floor price. And hey, I don't mind being wrong. I just didn't trust the Solana community. It had nothing to do with the team. So I'm glad that people can hold things for a while now. So I want to learn more about Claynosaurus to see where they go as well.
Yeah, and that was kind of my, I only hold one. I might grab a second one just to have, I always say, try to buy two. If you can, buy three. That way.
Need that exposure for upside.
Exactly. And it's always one of those things that, when I trade, I usually enter a trade and I usually have 2 take profit points and then I hold a bag or I sell at like, I try to find the Pico top, right? Or I start seeing, the decline from the Pico top and I'll sell there. That's what I've been really good at. So with NFTs, you can only do that by holding 3 of them or 2. You sell at a 2x with a 2 pair or something like that, and then you just hold the other one until you find your local top or your Pico top. That's how I trade, and that's how I would encourage a lot of people to trade. So, I may look to get it. I may look to DCA down. But I'm just starting to come around to the idea that Claynosaurus could be a brand that just it could be the OK Bears. It could be something I don't necessarily get, but I know there's money involved there. And I know I would trust the Claynosaurus people over OK Bears because we've seen OK Bears execution. It's not very good. And Claynosaurus at least has a body of work behind them. So,
dude.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying you're right. And could we be seeing an IP meta come along too? Because we saw Bubble Goose pump as well. That's one thing that we've been talking about for a while. Even we were talking about like Bubble Goose before it like bottomed out around 2 Sol. Even then, it's like we were never fading Bubble Goose. We were like, hey, it's like it just needs time. It's like, and I'm still holding a fat bag of them. Of course, I gave Bubble Goose away because I'm known as a giver. So, but yeah, man, it's like there might be an IP meta along here. But we'll see. I talked to Slatty during the well mixer, and they have some things coming. I think production. You know what? I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want to like drop any too much alpha. But yeah, things are coming along.
Yeah, I think they will continue to come along. We
Hmm.
might be in an IP brand meta or something like
Yeah.
that. I would imagine that comes more in a bull market,
Yeah.
solely because, or at least, we're back at $40 or something like that, um, because you can sell your soul, that is the underlying asset that you have to mint the NFT in, for USD, and all of these brand and IP plays are going to have to go through Web2 means, right? So some of these, like, if we saw the next Blocksmith or something like that, where it's builders within the space, a lot of these developers will actually take Solana as payment. And so
Hmm.
whether they liquidate that or not, it's just easier for them to move around money with Solana, and they just keep a book of that. With IP brand plays where you have to do a lot of Web2 facing,
Yeah.
you're going to have to liquidate, and you're going to have to pay them in USDC. So, or USD, I guess, not even USDC. So it's it's one of those plays that I would imagine is going to be more prominent when we're starting to see much more of an uptrend. But I know Claynosaurus has been working on this for a while, and they're just like, you know what, we're going to get it out. We're going to get it out to the community. We'll price it appropriately. And yeah, I'm glad they did. I'm starting to come around to them, and I'm excited to see what they do
Yeah.
with it. I do think that they'll have enough events and everything like that that will be
Hmm.
bullish for the price action. So if you're
Yeah.
in Claynosaurus, I don't hate it anymore.
Yeah, hey, I'm right there with you. I don't hate it either, and I've been hearing a lot of good things about the team. Once again, I won't be picking up at these price levels. Just me. I'm too worried about like just gathering liquidity for my S&B right now. So I have no interest in picking up anything else until I acquire at least an S&B.
That's right. Look, Dorian gets his sight set on something, he usually gets it. But um, except the Voxel Monkey, I still want a
Except
Voxel
the box
Monkey.
of one, the one that got away, dog.
I know, I know. Goodness gracious. But
To be fair, I didn't have 100% conviction in Voxel Monkey because I was like, I'm thinking about flooring everything, but I just didn't actively do it. While I'm like actively like working on like liquidating things for and by liquidating is not necessarily that I lost faith in the project. I just see more potential upside and value for me having an SMB vice holding these other assets.
yeah, I mean, SMB will. I really do think they'll be the punks of
Yeah.
Solana, right? I mean,
Hmm.
it's pretty much one of those that will always have its
Hmm.
value and prominence, and or provenance, and
Hmm.
just great people behind it too.
Agreed.
I have not met a monkey that I'm just like, you know what, I really don't like
I
you.
don't vibe with
Um,
you. We met a lot of monkeys too.
yeah, we did. I do want to talk. Yesterday, good old Benny Threads had a hyperspace live stream,
Oh yeah,
and
Benny.
they had it with Lieutenant Lollipop and
Mhm.
who was the other guy? I can't remember, but
It was
Lollipop.
hyperspace, yeah, and lollipop on there. I know that.
Yeah. Well, there's another monkey on there who I guess has been Tim. Tim was his name. And I
Mhm.
guess DJ and Tim has been doing some FUD work with Lollipop, but Lollipop's been Batman, right? I guess Tim's been Robin, but um they were talking about it. Lollipop kind of seemed all over the place. Yeah,
Mhm.
he has been a little, he's very good at garnering attention. I think that's one
Yes.
of the things that I got from that
Mhm.
stream, is like, and thought about too. It is very hard. I mean, we're doing it right now. We
Mhm.
give one of the best streams in Solana. I can promise you, hands down. And
Mhm.
it is very hard to draw eyes to this. One,
Oh,
because we are not
exactly.
drama filled. We don't
No.
have, a
Mm.
whole lot of, we're just straight alpha. We talk about
Mhm.
market headlines, we give thoughts and analysis, and we interact with the viewers
Mhm.
we do have. But I tweeted about it yesterday. I was like, we get like maybe 20 people watching our stream versus 400 to 1,000 listening to beef between a creator and
Mhm.
a fudder. And
But also like that's the type of content I don't want to do. It's like I don't
yeah,
want to sit here and talk bad about people. I really want to help people out and like provide them alpha like they can actually use. There's plenty of people that do entertainment, and I think during the bull market and right now, and it's like even our YouTube numbers have like we've increased by almost like 50% since we started doing shorts. So it's just like while the grind may not be as parabolic as somebody who's providing entertainment, it has more longevity to it. We see these shill influencers and entertainment influencers rise and fall, and it's just a lot of stress. It's like I don't want to deal with that.
oh no, the nice thing is, um we can do this longer than they can
Hmm.
do what they're
Hmm.
doing.
Hmm.
Like, they will become irrelevant
Hmm.
after, give them a couple months or something like
Hmm.
that. and then somebody will go to the next set of drama
Yep.
or bit of drama, and you'll start
Yep.
seeing those drama focused numbers fall to the wayside, where you'll see somebody like Easy. I would say
Yep.
Easy's probably the
Dude's a
pinnacle
beast.
of educational content
Yes.
in the space. His numbers will continue to rise. You know what I mean? So I sit there and I'm like, you know what? You always get that brief glimpse of like, maybe we should just like start fudding people and see what happens. And I'm like, I will get exhausted of that. It won't be
Yeah.
fun for me anymore. I'll have to deal with a chat that's not, conversational. It's combative. And, I
I'm
was
not a
seeing that.
combative type like that. I don't like to cause negativity. So I don't like talking bad about people either. Like, even when I do critique a project, I'm not like talking like, oh, it's the worst thing ever. We usually avoid projects that we hate. So
Yeah, I don't like giving them attention, but I'll talk my shit, bro. I'll do it. I'll do it in a heartbeat. Like, if you come on here, I will give you valid criticism. It's not in your face or combative, but
yeah.
I will give you open, constructive criticism. Nonetheless, the point of that whole being is Frank came on. Him and Lollipop talked about it. Lollipop got to ask his questions that, I think it really just showed that when you have constructive conversation, especially over voice versus on text, where things can get misconstrued, you start seeing a lot more like, hey, come to an agreement sort of things. All of Lollipop's questions were met with answers. They did have, I think one thing they still don't agree on is the ownership of the basketball team, which that's up to them. Lollipop's like, I disagree with your views of ownership, and he's like, that's fair. But it's like, if that's what you want to harp in on, like, what is he going to say? I partially own a basketball team on everybody's t-shirts. Like, no, that doesn't sound nearly as good as I own most of a basketball team, or I am an owner of a basketball team. Anyways, Frank went on a live stream. He's like, hey, live streams are cool. He started a live stream last night, and I'm sitting over here like, motherfucker, I'm going to get you on RareFUD. I'm going to get him on RareFUD. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get Kevin. I'm going to get Soulport Tom. We're going to get all of them.
Dude, it's like pulling teeth. It's like I've hit up Tom multiple times, but of course I get ghosted. I get ghosted a lot in this space. I need more clout.
Yeah, I know, right? So that being said, to whom it may concern, whether it is Frank or Kevin or anybody, I will start fudding you on Twitter if you don't get on RareFUD. Please,
dude,
come on RareFUD.
Yes.
We will have the best interview that you've had on a live stream. I promise you. But nonetheless, I hope live stream becomes a thing, and then people start saying like RareFUD did it first, because we pretty much were. I know Jersey.
Yeah, dog.
And Grish and some other traders did live trading on stream. I don't like live trading on stream. You feel like you have to do a trade at all times, and that just doesn't make sense. I'd rather talk about it with you guys. Like Vazrus, who is saying, fully agree, top stream, very educational, a lot of alpha, open discussions. That's what we love to see, Vaj. Yeah, I think this is way more fun. It's way more entertaining and very easy to continue to do. So, with all that said, hope live stream meta comes. Hope we can say we were front running everybody. And please start shilling to your creators, no matter who they are. I'm trying to get Andy rescheduled from Cyberfrogs, because they've been cooking lately. I know they had some issues when things were going down. It's very hard to short with their bot, with Thor, I think, which is one of their main selling points. Had some issues on that. I do want to get like Geckos on here as well. They've been cooking.
Yeah, we've had Geckos on the Cyber Samurai thing, so maybe I can like try to get them on here. Yeah, that'd be good. Because I've been thinking about picking up a Gecko as well.
Yeah, they're good. So let us know in the comments, hit us up on Twitter who you want to see on RareFUD Radio. We will make sure that we get some excellent conversation out of them. We'll get some great shorts going. We'll make sure to pump our channel and pump your content as well, your project. Because we're here for the ecosystem. If we're picking up what you're putting down, I promise you, we'll make sure you're on blast. So, in the best way possible, not terrible way. So,
net negative.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go through some of the calls. So, Cyber Samurai had a nice little pump. I did look at the charts, and we are up 69% over the past week.
For the culture.
Love to see it. I promise you that if I'm going to call my shot like I called Remnants under 5 soul, and then we quadrupled. So maybe this is worth paying attention to. Under 5 Sol was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Under 10 Sol is fun. Under 20 Sol for Cyber Samurai is fun. I'm telling you
Oh.
right now, if you want a better community with
Mm-hmm.
better merch, a
Mm-hmm.
better leader, and I'm coming
Mm-hmm.
around to the idea too that you have to start out centralized. It's one of the things I agree
Mm-hmm.
with Lollipops on his stream, and it's something I've struggled to come to grasp with on the concept. But you have to start centralized, and then you have to decentralize. You have to start empowering different people. And I will tell
Yep.
you,
Yep.
Shake has done a very good job of that. You
Mm-hmm.
got Dorian over here as the COO. He was just a community member at one point, right?
Yep.
And worked his way up. Cleric, Papa Romeo,
Yep.
Asigo,
Yourself?
they were myself. I guess I'm technically part of the. I just got added to the Telegram, y'all. I don't even know what
It's like advisor, like
yeah.
free advisor. We appreciate your advice, dog.
They just ping me every now and then, but one of the things I love, and I think it's how Monkey DAO rose to prominence, is because they promoted community empowerment, and I think that's one thing that Cyber Samurai they do it very well, and they continue to further the brand. And I promise you, we do more grassroots stuff than just about all the top collections outside of maybe Monkey DAO. DAA, I would say another good one. DGods, like they've developed staking sites for their sub DAOs and stuff like that. Like they are very good no matter what you say.
Also, just the quality of content of people, man. It's like we have Manny. He's like one of the best traders out there, man. He's been killing it. Easy has even been active in the Cyber Samurai chat recently. So, like, if you wanted to talk to Easy outside of the Nifty, guess what? Come through Cyber Sam, he'll likely respond to you. So, in the Twitter chat. So it's just like you having access to. There's a lot of notable people in the Cyber Samurai community, and I think that's one of the biggest drivers as well. Not only that, it's like Pepe DAO or whatnot. While the DAO is still young and still forming, it's like they've done so much stuff already, such as like hosting Are You Smarter Than a Pepe? I think they've done a Spaces or two. So it's just like, once again, as you said, Bison, it's important to have that type of community involvement to really help drive the floor price. And while even though the market values at us 5.75 right now, I think we should actually be valued around that 20 Sol range. And I'm doing everything I damn can to make sure we get there.
Yeah. So we'll call it another quadruple. We've been telling you at like 3 Sol and all that good stuff.
When it was 3 Sol, it recently dropped down to.
Yep. So
that would have been a 2x right now.
Yeah, pretty much, man. We've been talking about it. Remnants. So I do want to talk about remnants. Full disclaimer, I am on the team as the business dev lead over there. So I make sure everybody knows about it. I make sure we're talking to the right people. My job won't really start until we release our pivot. There's a couple things coming up for it. So if you guys haven't seen the price of remnants, it went up to 16 Sol. It's a little under 16 right now. Undercutters will undercut. And the big thing I want to pay attention to is, one, we have a couple of catalysts coming up. We do have a new mobile app coming out, so make sure you are paying attention to that. Think of what Steppen did. I'll just, draw comparisons how you please. We are looking to be the idle MMO RPG, so like your RuneScape that your mom can play and she doesn't even know it's on a blockchain. That's what we're aiming for. So the big thing I want to pay attention to, though, is the price of Camp, which is our native token. Now, I found a wonderful little feature on Soul Sniper. That is soulsniper.xyz. You can actually look at the historical price of coins. Now, it does not have full history anymore. It goes back to November 30th. So it's a relatively new feature, but this is one of the most stable coins that I have ever seen in SPLs. So I'm trying to find out. You can just see our listings went off a cliff. Somebody did a nice buy, but we only have 2% of our coin listed. We are using it constantly in the game. We are one of the top volume projects on Famous Fox Federation. We are consistently in the top 3 every single day. If you want to see a game that is more played, more used of the token, of very thriving economy, we have 170K camp volume, which equates out to be 1 minute. Let me get out my handy dandy calculator. Times 0.0008, 136 Sol volume per day.
That's good.
Look, I'm just saying it's a fun game, and that's per day. So you can definitely have your own. I know a lot of people are market making, and you sell your items and all that good stuff, dude. It's fun already as it is, and I promise you, it'll be 20 times more fun when the game comes out Q1. You do not need a remnant, but I would highly encourage you to do so. Now, the real alpha with remnants, buy a camp. Buy a camp. If you are a medium term holder, I did have remnants pulled up right here, but let's go ahead and see what camps look like right now. But if you are a medium term holder, um, make sure if you want to play the game now, pick up a remnant. Not a bad time to do so when Sol is $14 per. There were some people paying $1,000 per remnant, so you're only paying like 200 comparatively speaking. Not a bad entry price when it comes to USD terms. But camps, I promise you, I cannot reveal exactly what we're going to do with them, but you're going to want them. There's going to be a reason for it. It will play a big part in owning a part of the game. I think that's about as much as I can say when it comes to camps. But think about owning something, right? In a game, whether you were to own a boss or something like that, and you got a percentage of whatever coins come out with, if you were defeated by that boss or something like that, you got a percentage, like you and the homies, let's say 100 people got to fractionalize this boss, and you got 2% or a 1% of all the droppings from the enemies you defeated, aka like a raid party or something like that. They lose coins if they don't defeat the boss. You're making passive income on a game, and you get to play it still too. Like, how cool is that? So,
Man, you're making me bullish on camps with that vague description,
uh,
but I can see the potential.
I just want your mind to go. I
Yeah.
can't tell you what the game's going to look like or anything like that, but I can tell you that our goal has always been that you're going to own a part of the game in various different assets. So, incredibly bullish on camps. I will tell you right now, if you're playing the game, make sure you are getting up your upgrades to T3, T6, T9. Those are where our big bonuses come into the items. And I'm done talking about remnants. That is my remnant shill for the month. I'm done talking about them. I'll let them continue to pump, and you'll continue to fade, and I will continue to loot.
Print.
So that's it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm like, I need to pick up some camps. Like I said, dude, it's like 6 Sol, I think, is a steal, especially if it is remotely even in the area that what you were describing. I think that's great. And even with camps, so if you can gain camp passively from camps or whatever they turn into, it's just like, yo, the thing's going for 6 Sol, it's like that thing's going to pay for itself in no time. And like $60 for a camp that's going to look like it's going to be core to the ecosystem soon. It's kind of extremely undervalued in my opinion. I remember when Remnants first came out, like Remnants was probably one of my best plays at NFTs. Shake got us whitelist to Remnants because he knew the team. Then I got lucky because I was playing Remnants from the beginning, and I got lucky and had a ton of camps. So I was able to mint like 20 camps when it was the tab spam meta, and those things cooked to like 10 plus Sol, and Sol was over $100. So your boy was eating good, real good.
It was a fun time. I did sell a few camps then myself because I was like, well, I'm gonna de-risk a little bit, and
Yeah.
I'd rather sell these camps right now than sell a remnant. And it turned out to be the play. A lot of people were expecting it sooner, but I promise you, we are targeting Q1 2023. So if you guys have anywhere from a month to 4-month time horizon, this is a pretty good play while Sol is cheap. And yeah, I think that's about it with remnants. Just a friendly update as to why is this thing absolutely cooking. We are the best performing asset, like literally the top 3 best performing assets that nobody knows about, and I let them not know.
Keep the alpha to yourself, dog.
So
we've had people even in Miami that said they don't tell people about RareFUD because the alpha's too good.
and that I get it. That's a selfish
I
reason.
feel you. Yeah,
I appreciate it. But when everybody's like, "Hey, why are you absolutely cooking on your trades?" and they say it's because I listen to RareFUD, makes my heart happy. I get a little happy on the inside. So, Door, what else do we have to talk about today? Because I think we're about at the end of our show.
Yeah, man. I think we kind of covered it, dog. Alpha on terms of like alpha, like for me, like I don't really have anything else like besides pick up an SMB. That's all that I'm focusing on right now. I might have some like more quality alpha once I get into SMB, but I don't know. Scrap could be a good play. There's an unlock coming soon, so I really wouldn't look at it much right now.
When is that unlock coming?
In like 2 days, dog.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Wait
Hold on,
2 days because
exact.
IOs love to dump.
Yes. Look, I'm not dumping, but I considered it. So let me tell you the exact day that this is going to happen. So that way you guys are in the know. Trial stake.
Yeah, Scrap.
Sorry, I got to log in.
No, you're fine. Scrap loves to trade. For those that are listening, Scrap loves to trade on these dumps. So if you're looking to get, your pilot Scrap, if you get pilot listed, if you guys haven't applied for pilot list, go ahead and do so now. I know you should get accepted. Hopefully, there's only 6,000 buyers in the ecosystem right now. So if you've been active on Twitter and you're participating and all that good stuff, go ahead and try applying, right? It can't hurt. And this thing will print. I guarantee you pilots.
Oh yeah. Pilots is going to print.
The trailers I've seen look insane. So
yeah, it's going to unlock in 2 days and 19 minutes.
Okay, there you go. So
yeah,
let's say around 1:15 on Friday, then that's probably when I would start looking at entry points because it will dump. They love unlocking that scrap, getting that scrap, and then liquidating for USDC or Sol. So just look for that if you guys are looking for a scrap entry. That's really good alpha, Dor. I'm glad you brought it up.
No problem. I'm glad I can contribute to the show because you've been rocking it today.
Yeah, I think that's about it, Dor. I really don't know if there's, we can reiterate all of our plays that we've been on for a while, but I don't think that's necessary.
I don't think so. They can go back and check the other videos if you want to see those plays.
Yeah, I'm sure, you have the means and ability to do so, whether it's on podcasts or YouTube or on Twitter, whatever you want to do. We've been calling and cooking heat. Let's end the show this way, Dor. I want to go over some of our bad calls lately. I want to go over one bad call you can think of in recent memory, and I'll go first.
Yeah.
Divine Dogs.
Yeah, dog.
Divine Dogs do not cook. Transcendent Dogs look all right. They're down in the dumps right now. I was able to mint with Halo, so I didn't mint with Sol. Still holding them because why not? It's high blinks art, and maybe people will catch on, but they did not cook.
Nope.
And another one I'll throw out there is GM. I did not sell into the IOTA pump. I should have. As soon as I found out that it was going to be 1,500 and there was going to be a public mint and things were going down bad anyways. Yeah, I definitely think that was a pretty bad call. And then I'm gonna say that. And then I'll let you go ahead and take that over.
GM was definitely a bad one for me as well. I definitely did not cook on GM. I definitely lost money on that. Transcendent Dogs, I'm right there with you, down bad on those. What else am I down bad on? I'm down bad on, believe it or not, I cooked on Scrap and then I went down bad on Scrap. So I cooked on Scrap on 26 to $1. Then I was like, okay, it pulled back to like 70, 80 cents. And then your boy went in heavy around that price range. And then everything happened where with the 0% royalties where they're like, oh, I don't know if this is we're going to mint Scrap or not. Boom. We saw Scrap pull back to like 40 cents. I'm like, I got to get out of here. I'm not bag holding this all the way back down. So yeah, I took a big L on that. What else? Like, once again, have positive and negative things about Bubble Goose. It's like, because we've been talking about Bubble Goose on the way down. Like, we even told you, it's like, we're not too sure where the bottom is. We don't know where good entries are, but we see this doing good long term. So it's like a yes and a no for Bubble Goose about us.
Yeah. I should say with the caveat on all these plays that they had gone up after we mentioned
all of these did go up after.
All of these GM, Scrap, Transcendent or Divine Dogs, they all went. I mean, Divine Dogs went like 3x from where we called it.
15. Yeah, it was up.
GM doubled from where I bought it at like 8. I just didn't sell it.
Same.
And so that's one of the things. One, we are not prophets. Like we don't know the future. We just make very educated guesses based off fundamental and technical analysis. And then 2, we cannot sell for you either. We don't know if they're going to have a bearish event and we can't get that information out to you in time. Like, please know your own risk, know your own, that is all to say this is not financial advice. Do your own research. We're just some people who love trading JPEGs.
And that's a good point, man. It's like, I'm not here to call entry and exits for you guys. It's like, just because I jump in a project doesn't mean that you should. And it's like, I'm fine taking a loss. That's cool. But don't just copy trade me. It's like, find your own trading style, because from experience, there's no worse feeling than not trusting your own gut and taking an L because you copied somebody else. So always like develop and if you take an L, figure out why you took that L and how you can improve later. Too many people in this space take losses and blame those losses on outside factors. Oh, this person said this. You told me to buy here. Oh, I didn't get whitelist. That's why I didn't get it. No, there's all these other factors, but in the end of the day, you signed that transaction to purchase that NFT. So just find your trading style, whatever that is. Maybe you're a long-term investor like me, or do a mix of both like Bison, or on the other extreme end like Joe and Easy. But it's important to find your edge. And once you do, I think you'll start seeing a lot more profits.
There you go. That was beautifully said. I think moral of the story, I just want to end it that way because we always talk about our plays and we've said them repetitively. I think it's more fun to talk about plays that didn't exactly work out how we thought they were going to, or did kind of, they did go up. Yeah. So I guess it works out, but it's hard time in the market sometimes. And just know your exits and entries. That's it. So even if we shill it, most of the time you guys are front running us. Like, I usually call stuff that I haven't even bought yet. So
same dog.
This it's only to put it on your radar. Like, my only goal with this show is when I call something, it's usually to put it on your radar. I would say camps. I just mentioned them, the stream. Maybe wait for a pullback. I think they're undervalued just because the thought process is I know what they're going to bring. So I have a little bit of insider knowledge right there, and I'm trying to share as much as I can without completely divulging. I also just know supply theory. There's 8K remnants and there's 4K camps, and remnants are 16 and camps are 6.5. Do the numbers. There's going to be a much more limited squeeze on camps. And so I was fine. I bought some recently, but I am also looking at DCA down if they do go lower. And that's my strategy. So adjust accordingly. If you think they're going to go down, if you have limited liquidity, make sure you come up with a strategy in the meantime. But yeah, I think they're very undervalued. They just don't, you're not going to see immediate gratification off them. They don't do anything for your remnant outside of if you own one and you're looting. Right now you get a 30% loot bonus. So that's about it. You only need one for that loot bonus too. You don't get to stack those. That's it. Dor, do you have any closing remarks before we sign off the show?
No, man. I'm glad. Thank you, everybody, for joining in for us today. I mean, that chat was pretty active. I mean, it's always great to see an active chat because it's usually just like Curve in here and a couple others. So it's great to see new faces in the chat, and I appreciate you all taking the time out watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we appreciate it, you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week for another episode of RareFUD Radio. We will be back to our normal scheduled programming next week. Hopefully I will be back to 100%. I'm feeling better now, I guess.
Yeah, you sound great, dog.
Yeah, I still a little stuffy, still a little nasally, but next week we'll be back to our regular scheduled programming. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us this week, and we'll see you next week on RareFUD Radio.
See you, everybody.